Sometimes life throws us into situations we never expected, whether it's financial struggles, health issues, or a change in living circumstances. Many people find themselves in the heartbreaking position of having to give up a pet they love. If you're in this situation, I understand it's incredibly difficult, but before you take your dog to a shelter, it's important to understand what that really means for them. Every year, thousands of pets are surrendered to shelters like the RSPCA. And while these organizations work tirelessly to care for them, the truth is they are overwhelmed. There are far too many animals and not enough homes. Shelters do their best, but they can't provide the love and attention a pet would get in a real home. For many dogs, life in a kennel means fear, confusion, and isolation. Imagine your pet, who has been part of your family, suddenly in a small, cold kennel, surrounded by strange dogs and unfamiliar people. They don't understand why they've been left behind. For them, each day becomes a cycle of waiting, hoping for someone to come back, but they never do. As days turn into weeks and months, these pets often deteriorate mentally and emotionally. A dog who was once happy and loving can become anxious, withdrawn, and even aggressive after spending too much time in a shelter environment. The constant noise, the stress of confinement, and the lack of regular human interaction take their toll. This isn't just about rehoming. These dogs are suffering emotionally every single day. Many of these pets develop what's called kennel stress, a condition where the anxiety and fear of living in a shelter environment lead to pacing, barking, and eventually more serious behavioral issues. And sadly, as these dogs become more fearful or aggressive, they become harder to rehome. Part 3. The grim reality of euthanasia. And here's the hardest truth. Not all dogs that enter a shelter make it out alive. Shelters like the RSPCA work hard to find homes, but the reality is that there are too many dogs and not enough adopters. Around 10% of dogs taken in by the RSPCA are eventually euthanized. Not because they're sick or old, but because the stress of shelter life has damaged their mental health, or because there simply aren't enough homes for them. For many dogs, euthanasia becomes the kindest option after months of suffering in a kennel. But this is a reality that no one wants to talk about, and it's a reality that could have been avoided. Part 4. Compassionate alternatives. But here's where you come in. If you're thinking about giving up your pet, I want you to know that there are other options. You're not alone, and there are ways to find a solution without abandoning your pet to the shelter system. Start by reaching out to friends or family who might be able to take them in, even temporarily. There are also rehoming networks and foster care options where your pet can be cared for in a home environment until a new family is found. And if behavioral issues are the problem, many trainers and organizations offer help, often at reduced costs, to work with you and your pet. If you're struggling, reach out for help. There are people and organizations that can offer support and advice. Abandoning your pet doesn't have to be the solution. Part 5. Understanding and responsibility. I understand that life can change in ways you never expected. Sometimes circumstances are out of our control, but the decision to give up your pet should never be made lightly. They depend on you, and even if you can't care for them anymore, it's your responsibility to make sure they don't suffer as a result. Conclusion. Abandoning your pet to a shelter is not the easy or kind option. It's a path that could lead to months of fear, loneliness, and, in many cases, euthanasia. If you're in a difficult situation, please explore every possible alternative first. There are ways to find a responsible and compassionate solution. Remember, your pet has loved and trusted you. Don't let them down when they need you the most. Share this message to raise awareness and help those in difficult situations find better solutions for their pets.